What's up guys, Babs Money here with another episode of Dragatha Christie's Unsolved Mysteries. Yes, we all like my new wig. For anyone who has wig inquiries, Sapphire Wigs Diva. Amazon.com, some of the best wigs that you will find for under $50. This hairline, mama, you can't tell me nothing. This hair's growing out of my head. What's the tea, bitch? This ain't no fucking wig. Yes, I got rid of my titties, but I will have more one day. Anyways, you guys, I know I was a lying ass bitch and said that I was going to be better about keeping up with my content. It didn't get as bad as before, but that did not happen like I wanted it to. Miss Things. Mr. Mrs. Mix Things. But I'm trying to be better about that. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage. I know for a while now I have been doing just North Carolina content, but I wanted to step away from that. I was kind of pushed to do so by two cases in particular, one which I will discuss in this video and the other in the next, respectively. They are two cases that are eerily similar but also not similar. The two cases take place in different decades, different states, different regions of the country entirely. However, they are very similar in the setting, the victims, and the fact that many believe they know who the perpetrators are, but there is virtually no way that they can be brought to justice. And they're similar in the way that they really make you think of a human being's capacity for committing such depraved, heinous acts. So North Carolina or not, I wanted to tell you guys about them and get your thoughts on what you think happened. The first of those, which we will be discussing today, is the 1991 yogurt shop murders that occurred in Austin, Texas. The yogurt shop murders occurred about 29 years ago on Friday, December 6th, 1991, at an I Can't Believe It's yogurt store located in Austin, Texas. It was on this day that this particular store was robbed and set on fire after 4 teenage girls were murdered inside. The victims were 13-year-old Amy Ayers, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, and her 15-year-old sister Sarah. Jennifer and Eliza were employees of the I Can't Believe It's yogurt store who were working the night shift that evening. Jennifer's sister Sarah and her friend Amy had spent the early evening at nearby North Cross Mall. They had went to the shop to help Jennifer close it down and to get a ride home with her afterwards. The original investigation in this case went on for nearly 8 years. Initially, there were 2 men who confessed to the quadruple slaying, but they were released from custody in 2009 due to lack of evidence. Which brings us to one of those what's the tea, Christine moments. Because we don't know. We thought we knew. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but either way, they were released from custody, Miss Mama. No new charges have been filed in the case, but local media coverage for it remains ongoing. As of 2016, the APD's Cold Case Unit is continuing to investigate the case and attempting to find a match for DNA found on the youngest victim. With all that being said, let's get into what happened. The actual murders. Shortly before midnight on December 6, 1991, an APD officer noticed a fire coming from the nearby I Can't Believe It's yogurt restaurant and alerted his dispatcher. Once firefighters had extinguished the fire, they found the 4 bodies, 3 of them stacked on top of each other. All of the victims had been undressed and were bound and gagged with their own clothes. And additionally, they had all been shot in the head, which led investigators to believe that they had been killed before the fire was started. Just before the murders, the girls had been seen in the shop as late as 10 p.m. And it was noted that they happened to be looking forward to a sleepover that night. Which is another thing that just makes this so sad to me, is they were just living their everyday teenage lives, excited to hang out and spend some time together, and had no idea that this was about to happen to them. At the time of the murders, a known serial killer by the name of Kenneth Allen McDuff was in that same area. Now, mind you, I don't know much about this McDuff character. I didn't really look too deeply into him. Not because I don't think he did it. It's possible. but unlikely, as police ruled him out as a suspect. He was a suspect due to the fact that he had a history of multiple murders with teenage victims. However, the police soon ruled him out as a suspect, and it should be mentioned that he was executed for his crimes on November 17th, 1998, almost 7 years after the murder. So in the event that Kenneth Allen McDuff did commit the yogurt shop murders, that son of a bitch got what he deserved, Miss Mama. Ha! Send Papa my regards. The next thing we are going to get into is some false confessions. Yeah, conflama, buffoonery, bewilderment, shenanigans to the highest degree. You can't take this cunt, honey. Oh, I have no more titties to smack. Sorry, I had to recondo them. I folded them 3 times, told them thank you, and gave them to Cypress Van Dank. Go follow her on Instagram. It'll be right here. That's right. I don't care. That's my sissy sis diva. Love her to death. And I will plug her every chance I get. Don't do it. Don't do it. Bitch. Police have admitted that over 50 people, including Kenneth McDuff, on the day of his execution. In 1992, 2 Mexican nationals confessed to the crime and were held by Mexican authorities, but their confessions were disputed and ultimately ruled false. They said, bitch, cut the cameras. You the fool. At this point, we have no clue who did it because, bitch, like I said, it's still possible that Mr. McDuff bitch ass did it, but who's to say? Because he's saying he did it, but they said there's not enough evidence. I want to see the evidence, but I can't see the bitch, we are as confused as the day it happened. So we are going to go to the year 1999 when 4 suspects were arrested. Bitch. Let's get into it. On Wednesday, October 6th, 1999, police in Texas and West Virginia arrested 4 suspects in connection with the yogurt shop murders. Robert Burns Springsteen Jr., age 24, was arrested in Charleston, West Virginia. 25-year-old Michael James Scott of Budo, Texas, was arrested in the Austin area. Maurice Pierce, age 24, was arrested north of Dallas in Louisville. And 23-year-old Forrest Wellborn was picked up in Lockhart, southeast of Austin. The prosecution stated at one hearing that the DNA found in the case failed to match the 4 men, as well as 70 other suspects who were tested. Bitch. The charges against Wellborn were dropped when a grand jury failed to indict him, and later, the charges against Pierce were also dropped. What? Only the cases against Scott and Springsteen went to trial, so 2 of them did go to trial. The other 2, I don't know why the hell they decided, we're gonna let you go. You ain't did nothing wrong on this day. Bitch, yes they did. Stop playing with me. The investigation ended up becoming complicated due to internal matters in the Austin Police Department. Escándalo. Escandalosa. Detective Hector Polanco was fired for allegedly coercing confessions, and it should be noted he was also involved in coercing a confession in a previous murder case, which led to the false imprisonment of Christopher Ochoa and Richard Danziger. Both ended up being released after 13 years in prison, but Danziger, due to an assault, suffered permanent brain damage. And Karen Hutley, who was an Austin Police data transferring employee, had to transfer because she was having a relationship with Springsteen Jr.'s father. I know y'all can't see my hip, honey, but... What? Ooh. Detective Polanco was later reinstated after he sued the city for discrimination based on race. It should be noted he was also later promoted and retired with a full pension. Now we're gonna jump to 2006. The remix. The Texas Court of Appeals overturned Springsteen's conviction on the basis of an unfair trial. Unfair my ass, what is you talking about? This don't make no kind of sense to me, because I want to know why is it unfair, because I couldn't find it. And additionally, in February of 2007, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to reinstate the conviction. So they're like, nope, he didn't do it. We know. We were there. We're God. And now we're going to jump to 2008 to August 20th, when the defense lawyers for Scott and Springsteen requested DNA testing of alternative suspects. Fair enough, bitch. But with all that shit I just talked, I must say, no matches to them were found in evidence discovered earlier that year. And 7 jurors from the trials have noted that they would not have convicted the men had this evidence been available at the time. So there you go. I'm sitting here like, they did it. There you go. They probably didn't. Now we're going to go to 2009, to Wednesday, June 24th. Judge Mike Lynch ruled in a request that one of the trials be continued, that the defendants be freed on bond pending their upcoming trials. At this point, fair enough, if you ask me. If there is reasonable doubt that they did the gigs, sure. On that day, at about 2:50 p.m., both men walked out of the Travis County Jail with their attorneys. And on October 28th of 2009, all charges against them were dismissed. They said, they didn't do it, bitch. Gotta be somebody else. Well, if it is, who is it, diva? Bitch, because I need to know. I need to know right now. Sick of this shit. Now we're gonna go to 2010. Not too long ago at this point, 10 years ago. Ooh! On Thursday, December 23rd of 2010, Austin police officer Frank Wilson and his rookie partner conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle driven by Maurice Pierce, who, if you remember, was one of the 4 suspects that were arrested. The one who had his charges dropped, whatever the hell. Well, here's the gag. They stopped him in the northern part of the city, and after a brief pursuit, Pierce struggled with Officer Wilson and then pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the neck. Diva, if you got the cojones to stab a police officer, you either just really brave or you got some shit that you know if it's discovered, you will be brought down into justice to the knees of God, and you will pay for your iniquity, bitch, and you know it. Wilson survived his injuries and then pulled out his gun and shot that son of a bitch. And that's basically all the information we have at this point. I think that people might believe that these men did in fact commit the yogurt shop murders and that they got away with it. I don't really know. If the DNA didn't match them, that's just kind of crazy how it could be them, but doesn't mean anything. At the same time, there could have been someone else along with them. Who's to say? They said there were over 70 suspects tested in this so there's at least 74, probably more suspects, and we're no closer to the answer today than we were when this happened in 1991. It's almost 30 years. It's a long time to wonder what happened to your sister or your daughter or your friend. I did also want to give some little plugs for some books if you want to read more into the yogurt shop murders. There is a nonfiction book by Beverly Lowry called Who Killed These Girls? Cold Case The Yogurt Shop Murders. And Corey Mitchell also wrote a book about it called Murdered Innocents. There's also a novel called See How Small by Scott Blackwood, which is based on the case. All 3 of these are good books that you can read. I wrote down where you could get them and all that, but listen, all you gotta do is look it up, honey. You can find them on Amazon, eBay, whatever. They're pretty cheap. So what do you guys think happened? Not much information to go off of here, so speculate away. I personally think this is one of those cases, honestly, I can't say something for certain. It's possible that these men committed this crime and got away with it, but I honestly don't know. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I always say that, but in this case it is so true. Like, please, give me your speculations. Do some research if you want to, and come back and be like, hey, you didn't point out this and this. Read me down, girl clock me if you have to, because I need answers on this case of truth. But with that being said, I will be back with the second suspicious brutal murder eatery cases. I don't think I said those words in the correct order, but you got the damn point. Until then, this. Ooh, matching client. Ooh. Until next time, I am Babs Money, and I'm signing off for now. Good night, money chasers. Until next time, diva.